Hello, everybody, and welcome to our next poll for the 2025 Lamley Awards, and by far the most challenging that we will have this year. The end of the year free-for-all on Instagram, the tournament we're going to do, brand versus brand, model versus model, that's going to be insane. But in terms of Hot Wheels polls, this topic, best premium new model, is by far the most competitive and one that I have no idea is going to turn out. We're talking car culture, we're talking Boulevard, we're talking team transport, we're talking pop culture, Fast and Furious, you name it. We've had new models come from all of those lines. This is the year of Ron Wong. We'll talk about that. He did a bunch of amazing new models. I have little sneak peeks for 2026. Ignore those, but I am whetting your appetite for what's coming. But also highlighted, obviously, like Basic, with the premiere and debut of Ferrari. Now, I could go ahead and say all these new models, these Ferrari new models are going to dominate, but I don't know if they are, because we had we had a slew of great new models in every line, and we're going to go through all of those right now. They've all been opened and loose. We're going to get rid of these carded ones. That's not what we're here to look at. We're here to look at the cars themselves. These models, many designed by Ron Wong, others designed by Rob Mathis. I think Christina got into the mix, Brendan Vituski, several others. I think Charlie's been in there. A bunch of others have worked on these. I don't remember from each one, but Ron took over the lines in terms of leading them up, and we have seen supercars and Euro and JDM and some amazing stuff. I have no idea. I'm going to give you my top three at the end, but go down below and vote after you see all of these cars, and you can decide which ones you can vote on three. That's what we're going to do, like we did with Basic. Pick your top three new models, licensed new models of 2025, I'm sorry. And then we will see which one comes out on top. I will unveil mine. We will start with car culture. Let's move on down to our little parking lot situation here, and we will go through the new models one by one, pretty much in order of release. We'll talk about the castings themselves. There have been some recolors like chases and stuff. We'll talk about that later, but let's just focus on the castings themselves. And we start with this from Hammer Drop, I think was the first mix of car culture. This is the Lancia Stratos Zero, a very interesting, and I think somewhat, I'll just say surprising, I'm not going to say baffling, new model debut. The first new model to debut in 2026 was this Lancia. Yeah, a concept car, a classic car, a museum piece, if anything, and done by Ron Wong. And I think sent car enthusiasts loved it. I think sent some to Google to figure out what this car was. It obviously doesn't look like anything else. And very interesting. There was a two-pack version and a chase. We'll get to some of that, but we're focused on the casting itself. Maybe that is the one from Car Culture that you think will be the one. Some of you will vote on it as the best one. I'm going to put this. I don't know where am I going to put. I'll put it right here. Some of you will voted on the best one, but I think it did surprise some people. Next mix was Silhouette, the return of Silhouette. Did we have a couple new models? I think we only had one new model in that, but obviously we're talking about new castings. This one definitely created a buzz. Always nice to see Liberty Walk in the main line, and here it returns. This is the LB Works McLaren 720S in teal. Obviously, it was a chase as well. You want to factor in that it was a chase in voting as the best. Your criteria is your criteria, but I'm really trying to focus on the castings here as which one is the one that you think is the best or your favorite. This 720, obviously, with the Liberty Walk wide body kit on it, is a very interesting one and a very cool application of, for premium. I think Ron did design this one. Again, I'm not going to remember all of them, but that might be the one that you think were the best one. I really like, we've had several Liberty Walk, obviously. It's been all over the lines. The old R34 is still considered a classic. Of course, going to the two packs, staying in car culture, two packs Team Transport, I kind of lump in with car culture. So moving to the two packs, I think this was the first new model we saw in the two packs. This is the BMW M3 GTR, 2001 BMW M3 GTR. Before I put it on the turntable, not to give it a little push, but it's taking on a completely different look. I can't reach it. And we'll talk about that when we do the sneak peeks. It's taking on a completely different look in Boulevard in 2026. And, Ron has talked about why he's doing it in gray with the 10 spokes and everything. And I think everyone knows why. But this casting debuted. So that you can see castings can take on a whole new look between this racing version with the more racing wheels on it, the thicker tire, and then take on a completely different look as a street version a little bit later on. But this one, very cool in the BMW M racing livery, and obviously has a racing pedigree on the track before it does on the street, or starts on the street and the track. I don't know which one it goes, but it's a very cool casting. It can take on two very different looks, and we've had a lot of fantastic BMWs released in the last few years, and this one definitely applies too. And one that I think definitely merits some consideration is best casting of the year. All right, so we're there. We move on to, what was this one called? It was the off-roading mix, and I just don't even remember what it was called because I don't have it in front of me. But we had a new casting, I think one new casting in this one, and it obviously is the Toyota Land Cruiser. New Toyota Land Cruiser, beautiful. This was also the Chase. We'll see it in a little bit. We had it in blue, very cool. Somewhat lifted, I think. Takes on a bit more of an off-road look, even though it is the Land Cruiser. I mean, pretty close to factory, right? I mean, would you call this a car culture piece? I guess you would. And, like the Land Cruiser is a very cool car and a very modern car, but yeah, very nice casting. And I think a lot of people like this one, one that I love in my driveway. This one, I think people love to see debut. This was in the Advan Diorama collector set. What do we have? Skyline in there. We had the Porsche in there and one of the trucks, but this is the Toyota MR2 TRD 2000 GT. Very cool, souped up MR2. Advan livery always makes castings look good. Not that this one needs it, but it does look awesome in the Advan livery. The white rims were a really nice addition. This might have been a Christina Deco. I think a Ron casting. I'll have to remember that through, but that's another one. I mean, you just see this, and I'm gonna keep saying this as we start going through these. It gets harder and harder and harder to determine which one which three really for that matter you're gonna choose, because this is also a great one. The Audi RS6 Avant. What's the year on this one? They don't say, but it's a very current. I don't think it's the current generation, but it's one behind. And then of course there was the RS6 Avant that was done for basic and premium a few years prior to that. So this is the second more updated version, and done in an Audi Deco, which is an actual factory Deco, I think. Is like a promotion car. And then we had the Chase in all black with the black 10 spokes. That one is fabulous. You know how this goes. I mean, I think about the Lamley Awards as we go, and I go like, well, that's my favorite. That's going to get one of my votes. And then I go, and then later on in the year, I'm like, actually, no, it's going to be this one. Here's one that I'm going to give some serious consideration from another diorama set. And they were released very close together. And I'm trying to think if well, this is the order I have them. So we had the MR2, then we had the wagons released, and then we had this one, the Holy Trinity set with the McLaren, the Mercedes CLK GTR, and now this most welcome Porsche 911 GT1 1997, a legendary car along with the other two cars in that set. This one debuting in plain gray is absolutely how it should have debuted. Ron really paid attention to the wheel wells, so they have they're very specifically done for this car. Obviously, the way it's built as a race car. I can't wait to see this one in racing liveries moving forward, but perfect as debuting in silver. That is another one. It's just like perfect car to be done, had to be done. It's been done before, but done properly now with what they can do with premium. All right, now we go into the Ferrari era. Not that this is a Ferrari, of course, but this is the introduction of is it Race Day? Was that what that set was called? And there were two new castings in this set. This one, as cool as it is, was totally overshadowed by the Ferrari, but still fabulous. This is the second or third, maybe it's the second RTR casting. This is the 24 Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. Von Gittin Jr., I think this is his car as well. But we saw, if you compared it to the old version, you would see that there are some updates with the casting, and to reflect this newer Mustang. And obviously they had some wild designs with the wheels on this one, the 5 spokes up front, very much built for drift, and very much just a cool casting. Drift fans, I think that's a heavy consideration. But yes, it was overshadowed by the premium debut of the Ferrari 499P, not to be confused with the Competizione, I think it was called, or Modificata, right, from RLC. We'll see that one in the RLC video, in the RLC poll. But here we are, a very heavy casting, a very detailed casting. I think I learned from Ron that even though he did the RLC and this one is maybe, if it's not the heaviest premium casting he's done, it's the most expensive. And I think that goes not only into the pieces that are there, you know, with the spoiler and how it's done, but also the full wraparound deco and everything else. I think this is the most expensive premium model that has been produced for at least something like car culture. Casting's fabulous. Design is fabulous. Wheels are fabulous. I love these race cars. I'm not as much of an enthusiast on racing, but this casting, okay, it's up there. It's up there. I have my choices, but I still am thinking them through as I go. And like I'd say, my choices for best tend to go back and forth. All right, so that mix was released with those two models. Then we saw in the middle, and you can see how fast these premiums, because it doesn't seem like this has been out very long. But we had the 2-packs, and we had one new model in the 2-packs released. And this one was another, almost like the Wedge, the Lancia Strato Zero. This was a big surprise. Christina, I believe, has one of these. And while she mainly does graphics, the design for graphics, I think she had a hand in the design of this actual casting. This is obviously the Subaru Crosstrek. I'm trying to see if there's any other badging on that. No. But obviously done in an overland style to fit more of the Hot Wheels style. You see a lot, at least where I live, you see a ton of these. And this one is done obviously a little bit modified up for overland, which I think is great. This one, surprise casting, and you know what, that might be criteria enough just to say, hey, we see enough Porsches, we have enough Skylines, we see enough JDM, we see enough race cars. Why not something totally different like the Crosstrek? And that alone could be a really good reason to put that in your top 3. And then it gets followed up by this. Eurospeed, right? That was the mix. The mix itself wasn't killer, a lot of peg warmers, but this wasn't, right? This is the LaFerrari, the second Ferrari casting by Ron Wong for premium, and an update from the original LaFerrari that was done for basic. And as we've done in previous videos, as we've shown, this was a major upgrade from the old one from 12 or 13 years ago. And I mean, if I have to do a Ferrari poll of the new models, I mentioned in the basics that none of them really broke my top 3 for basic new model, best basic new model. I liked the Ferraris. I ranked them the 365, the SF90, only because 365 is the more interesting car, and then I put the F40 last because it left a little desired, as I've talked about. But that is totally opposite. That's amazing. So is that one, and so are the other 2 that we'll see here in a little bit. All right, this is just hitting, but this is where we are time-wise, I think. At least as I had these to showcase, I might, my timing, it might be a little bit different, but we saw, I guess Ronin Run was first, so this might be a little bit out of order, but it doesn't really matter because we're seeing all these castings. But this is from the Honda diorama set that is just hitting now. I think it hit a little earlier in overseas markets, and I had this to showcase. So the way I put these together, this was already there. This had the Honda Civic EK in it, and then the Acura, the Honda NSX actually. To stay with the Honda theme. But this is the S2000 Rob Mathis design. This is the 20th anniversary, so it has a little bit of a different nose, a little bit of a different look from the classic S2000. Obviously a very a different take on the S2000 from Ryo Asada's original. Another one most welcome and looks so good in white with the white rims. Just as you know, I love that style, and this one really fit. And that all white Honda set is well, everyone's gobbling it up, right? So that one, boy, that one's one to consider as well. And speaking of white Hondas, this one's up there for me too. Ronin Run 2 comes out. 2 new castings, right? In Ronin Run 2. I'm thinking we had the Skyline in there. We had the Mitsubishi Evo, which was slightly modified, but not a new casting. We had the I'm trying to remember what other, anyway, that doesn't matter. We're talking about the new ones. How about the Honda Civic FD? This is the Type R. I think there's a year associated with this one. 07 Honda Civic Type R. Otherwise known as the FD Civic, otherwise known as, I don't think we saw this silhouette in the United States. I went through a whole Type R video with these when I did the showcase on this casting. Also a chase as well, the famous Hype R, which is so cool. Such a cool name, but this one in white with the gray 10 spokes. Absolutely love it. If I had to pick between these two, I'm picking that one just because of what an iconic car it is. But we can keep on going because Mad Mike has something to say, and I know there's a lot of people who are going to dig this wagon. This is the RX-3 wagon, a very cool, original, very interesting car, obviously from the Mad Mike world, and modified by Mad Mike, done as a Hot Wheels, and just just a perfect. I mean, where do you? I guess with the RTR, I guess you'd put it in with that kind of family, like the family of Hot Wheels people. I think we'll see probably another version of this. Maybe we'll see one cool and like in a. I mean, it still has a very classic silhouette as a wagon. You could see that one done in just a very clean RX-3, just color like black or maroon or yellow or something. I think that one will be very cool to see in other formulations as well. All right. I could include the Fiat hauler, but I didn't, because I also didn't include the Land Rover Defender in Team Transport. I think I might have included the 4Runner last year. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I decided not to this year. You might see me in the tournament, but you could go with that Land Cruiser. You could also go with the Fiat hauler. And I decided not to. Maybe I'll regret that because I think they're... Well, I'm in the middle of this video. I could still do it. You know what? Give me a second. It's the Lamley tournament. I can do it the way I want to. And I think I did the 4Runner last year, if I remember correctly. We had that, and we had the truck, right? I think that's right. But nonetheless, let's just do it. So we'll go back a little bit, I guess probably back right around, I don't know, but here it is. If you would like to vote on this one, it is absolutely should be in there. It's the front section, obviously, of a Team Transport. It is the Land Rover Defender 110. It is very cool. It is I think, let's look at the name. Yeah, just 2023 Land Rover Defender 110. It absolutely should be in there. That's my bad. So I'm going to include it. It's on the turntable now. It will be in the poll. I will photograph it, everything else. Changed my mind on the fly because I think it absolutely deserves to be in. So it goes right there. It was a fairly early model. It may have been in and around Hammer Drop when it first came out. And yes, that also means that I will put in the tournament this thing. And because it is such an interesting model, I can't remember if I've done there's been other licensed haulers, not just like the Land Rover and the Dually, but there was the Ford C300, I think it was called, but this is a cool vintage hauler. The Fiat that was done, it can be in Ferrari badging, I think it can be in Maserati badging. I wonder if we'll see that someday. But just the way this was done by Rob Mathis, we talked about this hauler. It is just a phenomenal piece, and I think deserves, some of you will want to vote for this. So, and I'm tempted to do it too, so I'm going to put it in there. And then obviously what came with that casting, another new casting, is the Ferrari 250 GTO, another updated model by Ron Wong from the previous Ferrari era, the classic ultra cajillion dollar Ferrari done as a classic race car. Just a beautiful model, and one that I think definitely deserves some consideration. All right, Timeless Icons. 3 new castings in Timeless Icons. This is the latest mix, and I think one of the most, I'm going to do a video on the best mixes of car culture, because we're walking into the 10th anniversary of car culture. You can see, well, you can't really, here, now you can. Next year, 2026, will be the 10th anniversary of car culture. I think we should definitely review the first 9 years, and we're going to pick best chase. We're going to pick the best mix of all time. How I'm going to showcase that, I have no idea, but we'll do that here soon. Nonetheless, the reason I bring that up is because, that's not, got to get to that a little bit, is because this mix, Timeless Icons, is just, might be the mix, the final mix of the first 9 years, might be the best mix of car culture ever. And this is something that even Ron said, yeah, I leaned on this one. I wanted to do something incredible because it just gets better and better and better. So yes, hype. New R34 Skyline, completely new R34 Skyline. The name is, there it is. Nissan Skyline GTR V-Spec 2, the BNR34. Ron's take on the R34, he just did a different version, has slightly different details. I think the original R34 has always been a favorite of Hot Wheels collectors. He just updated it. This one gets the chase. We'll see that in a little bit. Just a really, really cool model. Some people said, oh, we don't need another R34, but it's the first model to go off those, well, practically, because it's got two major other competitors, not to mention the Koenigsegg and the Porsche Carrera, but those were old castings. Because then you go to this one, the Lexus LFA, that I think has been on a lot of collectors, including mine, on their want list. It's taken way too long for an LFA, but worth the wait because Ron took it on. And I think that's the person we all want to take on the Lexus LFA. And he nailed it. It's perfect. So excited for future versions of this one. This one is one that I will definitely consider as one of the best of the year. We'll see where that falls in the top 3. And then if that's not enough, the 4th Ferrari in premium with the Ron Wong treatment, the Ferrari F50, done obviously beautifully, and a wonderful update from 2 F50 castings we've seen from Hot Wheels in the previous era, of one that's too small, one that was pretty nice, but this one is obviously the one to have, is the Ferrari F50. That's Timeless Icons. That's car culture. Oh, and then there's this coming out in the 2-packs, the final mix of 2-packs, which we've showcased before, from the James Bond Spectre set. 2-car set is the Jaguar CX-75. Very cool sports car from that video. I'm sure we'll see it in pop culture, and we'll probably see it in other mixes of car culture somewhere, somehow. This one in this burnt orange color, really, really cool model as well, but slightly overshadowed by those. That's just car culture. We haven't gotten to Boulevard, so let's get to that, because we're voting on best casting. It's not best car culture. It's best new model casting, so we'll get right to it, because this video is already super long. And this was the first mix. I'm trying to think. First mix of Boulevard did not have a new model. We had the Porsche 935, we had the Lancia Stratos, no, that's a Delta Integrale, we had the BMW M5, we had the Toyota Land Cruiser, and we had the Alfa Romeo. So the next mix, we had 3 new castings, so they loaded it just like Timeless Icons. Here's the Maserati from that mix. This is the Maserati MC20. Cool new supercar, very nice model. One that we might see coming up. Did it? Oh, it was in that Lego set, right? So this one in white with the 10 spokes. Very, very nice. I think, well, there were a couple other great castings in here too. I just don't know how I'm going to do this. How about the Toyota? This is the Tacoma, right? TRD Pro. 24 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. Rob Mathis, once again, you can notice he did this piece to make it look like it had red shocks, which is a cool detail for this signature Toyota tan color. Super nice details for this premium model, and I think one that, yeah, might get a few votes for sure. Moving on from the same mix, here's my star of the show, to be sure, at least from that mix, and one I anticipate revisiting, to be honest. It is this Mercedes-Benz. I do love Mercedes-Benz, but I love everything, as you guys know, and this 2008 Mercedes-Benz CLK63 AMG. We have the C63 Black Series. This is the one, the CLK63, to add to it, that I am so excited to have, a model that I have also wanted to see forever and ever and ever. Add it to like the FD Civic, add it to like what others that we really want to see. I think the LFA. I'd probably put those 3 as like the when are they going to be done models from my list. And there it is. That is one that I absolutely am thrilled to have from Premium that Ron designed. Love that one. And speaking of Mercedes, going to the next mix, well, I think we had 2 in that mix from Boulevard. And how about this one? Another legendary racing Mercedes. So we go this pedigree, and I think I talked about this when I did this. We went through some racing Mercedes, and a little bit lesser known than the Red Pig and some of the other AMG cars, but this is the 1980 Mercedes-Benz 500 SLC Rally. Really cool, very unique car. So thrilled that it was done. Wasn't on my list because, you know, one that I had to learn about. In fact, I did see it at Goodwood and was very excited to see it after I knew that it was coming. Just a unique model. Love the racing livery on this one. Based on, done pretty close to the actual car, as much as Hot Wheels can do. And another welcome addition to Boulevard, but also overshadowed in that mix by this guy, the Lamborghini Diablo SV. Is that the title? Is that the name here? Yeah, Lamborghini Diablo SV. There's no year associated with it. We've seen this Diablo before. We haven't seen it done by Ron Wong, and what a model it is. A stunner. Most welcome. Add it to the classic Countach. Some of the others that we've seen. We are getting an amazing family of Lamborghinis. I think that one is great. And then finally, as I just showcased, now, to know the timing that I work with, I filmed this video earlier today. We're going to release them at the same time. So I'm new to these models, but the final mix of Boulevard had 3 new models as well. Brian Benedict designed this one. I just learned that. I didn't say it in the other video, but I learned from Ron. Brian Benedict did this one. We got new wheels in this one, but this is the Ford Bronco. What year? 1975 Ford Bronco, classic Ford Bronco. As I mentioned in the video, most welcome to get a Ford Bronco of this style versus the older classic Broncos that we've had. Very happy to have that one. I think the best executed Bronco by about 130 miles. Really, really dig this one. Speaking of Lamborghini, a modern Lamborghini by Ron. We'll see more of those, I am sure. This is the Lamborghini Temerario. I'm going to botch a lot of the Lamborghini names, but yeah, this one I would probably put, for me personally, in the Tacoma range. Like, cool, but doesn't strike my fancy the way others do, but really, really well done. Ron's going to give me some grief for that one, for saying that, because I know he loves it. I love this one, though, that Ron did. The C33 Nissan Laurel. Is that the official title? Yes, Nissan Laurel C33. Talked about it on the video too. Loved the Laurels. The introduction of the first Laurel casting was such a surprising move, really showing that we were in the JDM era with Hot Wheels, and this is a wonderful sequel to that casting. The more modern but still classic Laurel and then stylized with such cool JDM details by Ron. Absolutely love that one. And now we move to Fast and Furious. That was the Boulevard new models. You can see it. We've got car culture. We have Boulevard. And Fast and Furious brought it too. There were some repeats. People don't like those carry forwards. I get it. But it does bring, sandwiched in those carry forwards, are some pretty cool new models. This Viper was one of them. What's the official word? 2003 Dodge Viper SRT10. The convertible. Done. And again, we won't talk about this. I won't talk about this. I've got some Fast and Furious content ready to do here in a little bit, but we got to focus on these models for now. The Dodge Viper was, again, Fast and Furious. I love it because, I'm going to move this down just a little bit. I love Fast and Furious. I don't care less about the movies, but I sure love that they bring us some awesome models in the Hot Wheels world. Didn't see a lot of muscle. Let's see, American muscle. I guess you could say maybe the RTR Mustang. That's one. Yeah, we didn't get a lot. It's definitely not a Bronco. The Viper, kind of, but here's genuine muscle. Brandon Vituski did this design. This is the 1970 custom Plymouth Roadrunner. Really, really nice car. Mag wheels look good on this one, obviously done for Fast and Furious, and one that we should see elsewhere. I could see this one in a cool muscle kind of NASCAR-ish type deco in the future. Don't know anything, but I could see it. This was a surprise and most welcome. This is the Lamborghini. This is, man, of the Lamborghinis this year, I think the Diablo is my favorite, but this one would be second. And another surprise, this is the LM002, the famous off-road, I guess you'd call it an SUV, but you know, a very different kind of Lamborghini, and done incredibly well. I think this was a Ron design once again, and nice and big, and kind of just the mean looking car, a vehicle that it should be. That was, I mean, that was the first mix. That was, well, there's one other model that goes into that with the, you had the Roadrunner, you had the Lamborghini LM002, and then probably the star of the show was Ron using Fast and Furious to finally give us a proper Koenigsegg. I like the old Dejera casting, but this CCX, Koenigsegg CCXR, sorry, is so much better than the old one. I wish that this is the one that was in Timeless Icons, that they would have already just done another version of it for Car Culture and just given us two this year, but they didn't. But it's still so clean and so cool in this version from Fast and Furious. And I love, this is again, my argument for Fast and Furious. It gave a platform for Ron to give us a proper Koenigsegg. And then the last two from Fast and Furious that were just so beloved. Well, This one, we're waiting for a better version. I shouldn't say wait. I am. Love the casting. If you love the Chaser casting, which I do too, vote for it, because this is the only time it's going to come up as a new model. It does not look great deco-wise, but it sure does look like a good casting. I can't wait to see a white-on-white type of version. Excited for the future of this, and I would consider voting for this, to be honest, in the in this tournament, just because I like the casting. I just don't like the release of it. I'm going to put this here because we're running out of room. But again, once again, overshadowed by the Heist Civic. The official name, we're all calling it the Heist Civic. The official name is the 1993 Honda Civic Coupe EX EJ1. But everyone knows it as the Heist Civic. This will have a good life in other mixes as well. I think a Honda Civic car culture mix actually would be merited. This one could go in there easily. And but folks are clamoring to get their 3 to create the diorama with the 3 Civics for sure to replicate that iconic Fast and Furious scene, which I do and am familiar with. So that one definitely works from the Fast and Furious. And then 2 more from pop culture. If you go way back to the earlier in the year, we had a James Bond Aston Martin Vanquish. I don't know why I'm silent on this one. Maybe because I'm tired from doing this video, because this is so many cool cars that I'm talking about. And this one is very, very nice. I'm guessing it'll be overshadowed a little bit, but a very nice premium replica of a James Bond classic, and fits the family. We have a few James Bond Aston Martins. We got the Jag this year, and a very nice welcome addition, and Aston Martin fans, I'm sure, happy. It's a really cool replica. And then one that I was super happy about, again, I could care less about the Mission Impossible movies. I enjoyed them, but I'm sure happy to have another BMW M5 to join, what, 2 other M5s we've got? We have the 1990s M5, we have the early 2000s M5, and now we have, is that right? Or is it 2001 and then 2000? So anyway, this is the 2021 BMW M5 from Mission Impossible, and one that I'm sure will take on some different looks in the future. We could just do a BMW M5 mix probably. We're not totally there yet, but will fit nicely in a BMW mix in the future. That is for sure. There you go. I'm not done, because I will just show you very quickly. Well, I got to pick my 3. But let's walk through those that were chases this year, because not every, let's see, if I'm looking at the chases from car culture, I'm looking up at my wall display. I guess just the Bugatti was the only one that wasn't a new chase. And the only reason, and Ron has said this, is he didn't want to do 2 Ferraris in a row. And he probably should have just not worried about that and done the LaFerrari as the chase in the Eurospeed along with the 499P. But it is what it is. We did get 1 non-new model chase. So, but everything else was new. So if you go through it, I'll just show you quick. These are going to disappear into the background. But you had the Lancia Stratos Zero, was a recolor of the chase. It also had a 2-pack version. I think it was the only one that we saw another color of. You had the McLaren 720. What is it? 720S. I was going to say P. I'm just getting used to the Ferrari badging. Also in jet black. Obviously, all of these got jet black. This is the end of the era. I think they're going to go back to black in 2027, but they're all going to be gold next year. We'll talk about that as we do those showcases. The Toyota Land Cruiser was an all black chase. I think the wheels were different on this one. If I remember, maybe they weren't. Maybe they were. I don't remember entirely, but we had the Toyota all black chase. We had the Audi RS6 Avant. Wheels changed on this one. Everything went black. 10 spokes versus the, what was it, the 6 spokes on the standard version from that. And then, yes, we really got a very cool version here. Wheels didn't change with the Ferrari 499P. This is still a highly desired chase, of course, because it was the first Ferrari and the first Ferrari chase. Goes from the racing livery to all black. The artwork changed on this one with the setup of being on the racetrack with the regular version, and then the 499P chase was in the testing facility, right? So that's the first time I think we've seen a full-on change of artwork. This one, not only is it a really cool chase of a really cool car, the FD Civic, but the Hype R is what makes this one special. Type R on the white version, Hype R, I think Van did this design, on the chase, perfect replicated in the artwork. And then the final one, very, very, very highly sought after, is the R34 Skyline, Ron's new Skyline. Everything the same, I think, Same wheel, same car, but still a Chase and a Skyline Chase. Say no more. My top three. All right, I'll show you. This is so tough, and I'm going to regret it right after I do it. But let me tell you. Here's the models that I have considered for my top. I'll check out the 5 that I considered for my top new model. Mercedes CLK, Ferrari 499P, LaFerrari. So in this case, I really dug the Ferraris. I love the F52. Lexus LFA, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then my 5th. Well, it came down, if I'm going to top 5, I was considering, where is it? The Laurel. I actually was considering the Koenigsegg just because that was cool. But the Laurel, the Diablo, the Racing Mercedes, and the FD Civic. And I went with the FD Civic. But the top 3? Here, wait, let me show you. You ready? Right there. I know it's way low on the screen, but there you go. This will change tomorrow. This will change in 5 minutes. This will change as soon as I turn off the camera. But Lexus LFA, CLK, Black Series, and the FD Civic. I will regret this on the Ferraris, but I feel more closely attached to these 3 than I do the Ferraris, and so there you go. But I could definitely say the Laurel, I could say the Skyline, I could say the S2000, I could say the High Civic, I could say the MR2, I could say the Porsche for sure, I could say the BMW because I love the future of that casting, but I love the RS6 as well. I mean, come on, I could go on forever, and now this video is incredibly long, but there is my top 3. Those are the 3 that I am voting for in the poll in the link below. You guys do the same. Tell me what you agree with, tell me what you don't. Pick your top 3, tell me why you did, but vote for sure. You guys tell me now. This will be fun. I have no idea what's going to win. Thanks, everybody. Bye.